Arts. Quarter 2, Module 2. Distinct characteristics of arts of the Renaissance and Baroque periods. Renaissance period, 1400 to 1600. Arts of the Renaissance period covers artworks produced during the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries in Europe. It pertains to arts, particularly in Italy, such as sculptures, paintings, music, architecture, and literature. The most common subject of this period is human philosophy. Characteristics of Renaissance arts. The focus was on realistic and humanistic art. Renaissance art was characterized by accurate anatomy, scientific perspective, and deeper landscape. Renaissance painters depicted real-life figures. Sculptures were naturalistic portraits of human beings. And the architecture during this period was characterized by its symmetry and balance. Let us look at the sample artworks during the Renaissance period. Let us start with Pieta. Pieta is made of Carrara marble and was one of the best works sculpted by Michelangelo before he turned 30. It depicts the portrayal of pain, the idea of redemption as represented by the seated Madonna holding Christ's body in her arms. Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is a half-length portrait painting by the Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci. The painting considered as the most famous and most parodied portrait, and it comes from a description by Renaissance art historian Giorgio Vasari, who wrote, Leonardo undertook to paint for Francesco del Giocondo the portrait of Mona Lisa, his wife. The Transfiguration. The Transfiguration was Raphael's last painting on which he worked on up to his death. It was commissioned by Pope Clement VII, and the painting was conceived as an altarpiece for the Narbonne Cathedral in France. The subject is combined with the next episode from the Gospels, the healing of a possessed boy, in the lower part of the painting. St. Peter's Basilica. St. Peter's Basilica is a church built located in Vatican City, the papal enclave which is within the city of Rome. Its central dome dominates the skyline of Rome, and it is cruciform in shape with an elongated nave in the Latin cross form. Baroque period, 1600 to 1800. The arts of the Baroque period developed in Europe around the 1600s. It describes a fairly complex idiom and focuses on painting, sculpture, as well as architecture. What are the characteristics of Baroque arts? Baroque was a period of artistic styles in exaggerated motion, drama, tension, and grandeur. Baroque painting illustrated key elements of Catholic dogma, either directly in biblical works or indirectly in imaginary or symbolic work. Baroque sculpture, typically larger than life-size, is marked by a similar sense of dynamic movement, along with an active use of space. And Baroque architecture was designed to create spectacle and illusion with flowing curved lines. Let us look at the sample artworks of Baroque period. Let's start with the conversion of St. Paul. The conversion of St. Paul from persecutor to apostle is a well-known biblical story. Caravaggio's painting depicts when Saul or Paul fell off his horse to the road to Damascus, seeing a blinding light and hearing the voice of Jesus. Another one is the portrait of Helen Forment. Helena Forment, or Helen Forment, was the second wife of Baroque painter Peter Paul Rubens. She was the subject of a few portraits by Rubens and also modeled for other religious and mythological paintings. The Ecstasy of Saint Teresa. The Ecstasy of Saint Teresa by Bernini is the central sculptural group in white marble, set in an elevated edicule in the Cornaro Chapel in Rome. It depicts the life of Teresa of Avila, a mystical Carmelite reformer and nun, as she encountered an angel with a spear. Next is self-portrait. Self-portrait is one of over 40 self-portraits of Rembrandt. It has been noted as a work in which may be seen the wrinkled brow and the worried expression, the troubled condition of his mind. Next is Las Meninas. Velázquez's painting Las Meninas focuses on the young Infanta Margaret Theresa, who was surrounded by her entourage. It depicts the main chamber in the Royal Alcazar of Madrid during the reign of King Philip IV of Spain. St. Peter's Square. St. Peter's Square is a large plaza located directly in front of St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. Bernini designed the square almost 100 years later, including the massive Doric colonnades, four columns deep, which embrace visitors in the maternal arms of Mother Church.